Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching episode 10 of season 3 of Hibike Euphonium. Very excited to be here to be continuing our journey from last week. It was definitely intriguing. We're definitely on a little bit of I would say a cliffhanger at the moment. I'm keen to jump in and see this conversation that we're going to have with our boy Taki. First up we have the YouTube comments here today, or I should say comment, the one comment here from Pencil Sharp. Yeah, last week was a bit of a ride for sure. I'm not sure I got everything entirely correct. We're going to say the Discord were definitely implying some things about Kanade as well, so I'm interested to see where that goes. We're keeping it on the hush hush, but it was there. Either way, onwards and upwards with the comment here. Episode 8 is the episode direction debut of Ryo Miyagi, with storyboards by Mei Isai. His first credit with KyoAni is key animation on season 1 of the show, which I think is pretty cool. I would agree. Not to be a nerd, but let's try and search up this fool. Actually, apparently my internet right now has fucking died, so that's cool. We'll find out who that is in a second. That sucks, because okay, it's back. Hang on. Either way, it wasn't that good anyway. All he's done is, on ANN anyway, is some stuff on Violet Evergarden. That's all I saw there, so that would make sense with where he's come from and what studio he's currently working at. So, anyway, weird. I don't think Matomu's confession was romantic either, but if he's starting to move forward from the worldview he was stuck in previously, there is a possibility for romance that wasn't there before. Maybe with a different character, one that may exhibit some devil-like qualities. We'll see. I think that's super cute, so I hope they're a thing. I hope that's a thing at least. There may be a little bit of Kumiko Shuichi in that as well, considering it's two characters that probably like each other that may go towards some direction by the end of this year, and then that'll play havoc with whatever happens the following year for them. It's a cool dynamic, put it that way. Nighttime at band camp is now confirmed to give a stealth debuff to youth players. This is true because Kumiko couldn't hide in season 2, I believe, back when we did the camp then. This episode is so full of callbacks, like the zoom out on Mayu is the same as when Reino first won the solo. That's a great point, and as I talked about last week, talks to a similar situation, right? This is very, very, very similar to what happened during season 1 with the trumpet solo, is what's happening now. And we shan't let it pull the club apart, I guess. Episode 9 is Ishidate again. It makes sense for 5 and 9 to go together. 5 was the festival one with Reina, so it's like Reina Kumiko stuff. So Mr. Reina Kumiko over here. All of these characters' opinions formed by their past experience is done so wonderfully. Yeah, there was a discussion on the Discord as well around which character is in the right and which is in the wrong and blah 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 blah. I think that conversation is always less interesting to me. Like, yeah, characters in fiction do things that are morally incorrect sometimes. For me, it's more about the drama, and if the drama is good enough to back it up, and if the characters are moving like they should, if they're internally consistent to their own logic rather than a set of moral values we ascribe to them. Because yeah, Reina in real life would be fucking pretty annoying and definitely anti to what I'm about personally in my life. She holds very different worldviews to me, but I understand why Kumiko and Reina are coming to a head at this point, right? There's a lot of factors into it, and I think it's done pretty well to get them to this point, right? And in a believable way. There was another character who frequently used their leadership role as an excuse not to say what they think. I would imagine that's Asuka. Because Asuka often went, "I'm not the president," or something like that to that effect, or I'm just the vice president, something like that, right? And often didn't say what she meant half the time. I think we're talking about Asuka here, I think. We often see characters take off the mask in fiction, less often is when we watch them build one up. Yeah, we've had enough time with our characters now through the whole school journey that we've seen how we led up to this point, I guess, and it's satisfying in that way. It's also interesting here that Midori is internally consistent. She thought that Kaori should have played in season 1 as well, for the same reason as now. I think she's the person who doesn't need any external motivation to put her all into music, and the only thing that could stop her is a toxic environment, and she wants to prevent that at all costs, basically. And now, if you think about that kind of mindset and applying that to the Motomu situation with his sister, like the creation of the toxic environment there was the thing that led to, well, one of the things that led to her falling out of love with music. So that's kind of talks to why Matomu has so much of a affection for her, so much of a, I guess, attached onto her very quickly. Yeah, that's pretty well written. I like that too. And I've kind of rescinded off of this a little bit, right? I still believe some element of it in a meta sense, right? That, hey, the writers have a plan, and part of the reason why they're doing this is to make certain things happen that will lead to a happier ending in the very end. I think that is the truth. That is just how you write fiction. Now, the part I'm rescinding is Taki's awareness of all of this. He may genuinely just think that Mayu's the better player right now, which is fine enough, right? But again, I still think a conversation with him, again, somebody who always seems to have Kumiko's best interests at heart. I keep referencing back to it, but that one kind of part. Can I speak? Oh my god. The one part in season 1 where she couldn't play that certain part on the Euphonium and then took it away from her and then gave it back to her in the very end. Is he doing a very similar thing right now? Potentially. So yeah, less master plan and more just doing what he thinks right in the moment and hoping that the kids get to the right point that he wants them to get to. I think, again, that there is certainly part of it. I think Taki knows that things aren't right now, for whatever reason. He's not stupid. He can see the drama and the bubbling tension and all that kind of stuff, right? Especially around Mayu. He probably sees that very clearly. Teachers are good at that kind of stuff. So again, maybe not purposefully, but I do think that is an element of it. Again, I'm just going to continue here. He's always emphasized having the club choose for themselves. If it were something like that, then he would be responsible for making sure that it doesn't tear the group apart. And even though he's better than Reina, he's never really been actively in the social side of things. If he's delegating to Kumiko, is it fair to do so at the same time as a big personal blow? Because Reina is right, if there isn't an absolute trust in Taki as a judge of merit, then the idea of meritocracy crumbles. Again, from season 1, people are simple. They work hard when they know they will be rewarded. Again, a lot of interesting ideas coming through here. I do really like my thing from last week as well about Taki being like Reina earlier in his life and kind of mellowing out because of events. I think that's a cool little theory. I hope that it's true. I really think it'll fit him as a character very, very well and really fit his approach. Again, I always emphasize this. When he came into the school, he didn't say, hey guys, we're going to make fucking nationals now. Let's go make nationals. No, he's like, you kids choose. Do you want to be the best or do you want to just make memories? It's up to you. Again, student driven. I think he's way more about the teaching aspect of it now than the making nationals part. Yeah, I don't know. The focus on the people rather than the events and the prestige and that kind of thing. But either way, that's enough yap for one day. I should go do those Patreon shoutouts, of course. As always, you can get next week's episode, which should, to my knowledge, be 11 and 12 next week. I would imagine it's that. I think it's a 13 episode season as well, so we'll have a 1 episode finale, I guess. Yeah, you can get those episodes if you pay me money. There's a Patreon link in the description below if you'd like to see it. It's completely and totally up to you, of course. Yeah, people have done this, and their names are Annie Gregg, Vicky Babbers, Trails Plus Plus, Adley, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Funny Fat Guy, Gloriana Tenebrae, Gus N, Heath, Ika, Yarko Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Madlad, Max, Mish, Pencil Sharp 333, Ramen Boy, Ron Lad BNK, Saint Lily, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Victoria S, Without a Net, Zach, Binchy, Hans Peter, Kelvin Cawthorn, and Marsh. So thank you very much to all those people. Thank you for money. I enjoy money. This week, I'm expecting a conversation with Taki. I'm expecting that conversation to take quite a long time in the episode. The other thing is pacing-wise, so we have 4 episodes left. I'm imagining we're going to make it to Nationals. I wouldn't be surprised if we've cleared some stuff up and done Kansai by the time this episode ends. Maybe. We do need to clear things up. We do need to be feeling a lot fucking better about things. Mayu in particular. Like, Kumiko needs to go to Mayu, I think, as well. And yeah, people mentioned Kanade. We'll see. I think, yeah, let's dive into this conversation with Taki first and foremost. Again, some small show stuff. Discord, if you want to talk about the show with me, because I like to do that sometimes. Well, all the time, basically. Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter, and I'll follow you back. Like the video, subscribe. Let's do this thing. Let's go. Radio, I have episode 10 up there ready to go, of course. 24 minutes and 57 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. I'm using the subs please version, so again, should be very similar to what everybody else has, and there'll be a picture-in-picture provided in the description below. And I am recording, which is always good. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Sound Euphonium. So true. Let's chat. I'm not feeling in a very happy mood. I'm not sure that the opening's jovial tone is matching with where I'm at right now. It's like that classic meme where you have the really happy anime EDs that play after really depressing episodes. It's happened with Kyoto Animation a number of times, actually, which is fun. Tonal dissonance. I'm just trying to think about Reina last week and her motivations there. Because there's many layers to it. Many, many layers. Like her frustration at herself for having such a strong internal code that she, ascribes to herself, and that being in conflict with her best friend at the moment. Like, again, rocking a hard place for Reina, for sure. Interesting question to start. Okay. But my good friend Kanade missed out. All the voice acting. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. True. It's all I'm thinking about. What? Oh, thanks. Little Shuichi gift. Yeah, that's what I wanted you to ask. For what purpose? Arpeggios? Yes, I can read, after all. I questioned my own sanity there for a moment. She showed a lot of restraint there, especially after last episode. Very interesting forum to have this conversation. And that's not great from you either. Not. In front of everybody is crazy. Yeah. Scratch his chin. You don't sound overly confident. Again, in front of everybody's crazy. Oh my god. Bro, this is insane. Okay, Dad, save the day, please. Yo, Kumiko, I'll just have a couple days off school, man. I'm not. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Kill Annie, by the way. I agree. I think a lot of it would have started with you actually saying what's on your mind back in the other conversation before. Okay. You jumped in and stopped Mayu from doing something. She was about to say something again. Probably I could give you the part. I was there, I remember. Too professional. All alone on that train ride too. Oh, there you go. There's our sunflowers. Yeah, there we go. We're putting pieces together. Maybe talk to Asuka? I want to talk now. Yep, okay. Let's have a chat. No. Raider's funny. You want him to shoulder some of the blame almost. We'll fucking lose. Push her in the river. Like you're doing now? Okay, bye. I've also noticed, yeah, sitting on the kind of riverbank there, very Oscar. Yeah, because I thought it was very easy how you just messaged her and she like listened to you and just like came along. You should go talk to Oscar. Well, like anybody, like talk it out, please, a little bit with somebody. Where the fuck are you now? Oh, you are doing it. Let's go. Yeah, I thought it was cute. Where's Oscar then? Also, very interesting that you're here too. You're very related to this problem. That's very close. We're completely fine. What is that? Love that shot though. Is that a thing? Yeah, I've never heard of the concept of roommates. How did you guess? Get predicted. Let's go. Yes. Unfortunately, she's always right. Maybe secretly, I'm the person that is meant to ask you things. Great. What are your glasses? Yeah, I agree. I'm sure that would look amazing. Oh my god. Stop. She's wearing contacts now, I'm guessing. Maybe not. Maybe yeah. Anyway, I don't know how glasses work. Yeah, all the time. That's not the correct answer. That's water under the bridge now. How so? Good point. Yeah. Sometimes there isn't closure. Good point. What a great scene, by the way. Okay. Fundamentally unhelpful, but maybe secretly helpful. Okay. Okay, so Asuka's still lying? She just lies constantly. Some of that line there in the Japanese, the word chosen. We'll see. We'll go back through. All right, we're walking, even running into maybe a canter, a light jog, a sprint. Let's go. Mm-hmm. She's doing it. She's doing it. So tell everybody everything in front of everybody. But again, we're building contrast with how she was in front of everybody before early in the episode. uh, if it looks like you're about to botch it. All right, it's time. We need a rousing speech from our glorious leader. Oh, she looks fucking ready. Look at that Kyoto shit. Wait, it's like today? Oh, wait, she always waits till the last minute. Yeah, okay, cool. Mm. Is now your time? Everyone's so tense. We need a speech. It's an interesting motivation. I hope you again, you're a very good player. Not enough time for a full performance, no. Is the only full performance I'm going to see at Nationals? Maybe. Sounds fine to me, but again, I don't know nothing. Thanks. It's about time for a speech. Thanks, Taki. Let's go. Oh, the voice there's nice. We know. We heard you before. Yep. True. The zoom. Mm-hmm. Oh, Captain, my Captain? Holy fuck. Oh shit. It's you, the random person from before. Yeah, that was great. It felt like a bit of a it was like a AMV of itself, but it was good. It was moving. I like the cut in of the older scenes as well. Okay, thanks. Kituji Fighter. I'll even give him one. Hell yeah. True. Yeah, we're about to stop. So we don't get to see it? Or we see it at the start of next episode? That's a great shot too. Yeah, okay, no next piece begins. You people are savages. Um yeah, I mean I need to watch the episode again a little bit. All that I can think about right now is that fence in the background as a piano. And I need to watch it again and get a better grip on everything and the concepts we're playing with. Because it seems like I was a little bit off track last episode, like significantly. I do like the idea of, yeah, Asuka being the one to say that Taki's just as confused as the rest of you. Because she's the one that's an adult now, essentially, right? She's the one that's grown up and graduated and done all those other things, right? So, her being an adult, she now knows that adults have no idea what's going on either, right? And Taki's just trying to outwardly show confidence in order not to, like the same way that Kumiko is, right? You have to be a leader and you have to outwardly show confidence in your decisions, even if you're internally fucking super conflicted about it, right? It's the same dichotomy we've seen between the first 2 years with Kumiko and the next one. We're pulling back the curtain. It turns out that our presidents and vice presidents this whole time had no clue either, because I have no clue. It's the same concept here with Taki, which I enjoy. We won? This is where our next piece begins, I'm guessing. Imagine if they just played the ED song, like there was like vocal segments and stuff. It seems like we did really well. And there's our next piece begins. Really interesting placement in the episode. That's okay. Sure, we'll rock with it. Yeah, let's do a little bit of analysis on that one, shall we? So, episode 10 in the bag. did a few different things structurally than I thought it would do. Again, we have a conversation with an adult figure somewhere in the episode. It just wasn't this one because he's too close right now. We can't say the questions we want to say at each other right now because of our mutual positions, right? It's the same way, again, Kumiko is forced into certain positions because she's the president, right? It's the same thing with the teacher. You can't say certain things, you can't say what's on your mind all the time, you can't be personally selfish, all these different things, right? And again, same applies to Taki. So we need to go to an adult from a different source. This one, hello, this one. And she's going to, in her own special way, in her own special slay kind of dismissive way, she's going to tell you what to do. And it's going to be kind of cryptic, and she's going to use an Oreo as a visual metaphor. But most of all, it's going to inspire Kumiko, and that's all that matters. Again, now that we know where all this goes and where this speech ends up, it's easier to go back through and see what kind of Asuka was getting at with her little bit of the conversation there. Again, in the episode reaction, I was talking pretty constantly about, okay, well, say these things. You got to say them to somebody. You got to openly communicate, which did end up being the answer, right? But the person that she needed to go to wasn't, again, you. It was another source. And then, of course, we're using the exec notebook as a little bit of a kind of, it was brought up very early in the series. It's used again now as a communication device, a secret communication device just for the executive team, which I like as a technique, kind of bringing that thing full circle, which I like. We're also obviously playing off some other Hibike Euphonium tropes, like we're having a conversation by the riverbank here, reminds you of a certain somebody, and that certain somebody comes back by the end of the episode, well, by the middle actually, and then we're doing our classic Kumiko starts fucking running really fast segment, which is another Hibike Euphonium staple. She loves doing that shit. Before a big inspiring speech, again, like I keep saying, it recontextualizes the big inspiring speeches we've seen before from like Haruka and Asuka and Ko, and Natsuki Yuko. Those people, it recontextualizes all those as being like huge decisions that were made with huge amounts of drama and pushback and conversations and blah 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 blah, just stuff we weren't privy to at all. We just got the end result, which again, I'm really liking this season as a pullback of the curtain in that regard. I think it's quite clever. But how about we go back through and we start talking about it in a little bit more detail? Let's do that. So first things first, the sub's still up here, but that's neither here nor there. Second things second, she doesn't ask the question that I thought she was going to ask. I thought she was going to walk straight up to Bro and ask the question of why you chose Mayu to play the Soli over me, right? The one that's related to her first and foremost, which is why I thought this was like a lead-in question, which is again more to the view of her role as president. She needs to ask for other people's problems ahead of her own personal problems, right? But again, Taki's not stupid. He knows what this question means. If you're questioning any element of this, you're also questioning the element of yourself. And now, again, just because I'm thinking about it, but there's better scenes that explain it more later. The way I was thinking last week is antithetical to the entire kind of idea and kind of messages of the show almost, right? That Taki was the one that's completely in control. He's like masterminding this shit. He's got a plan. He's got everything under control. Nobody has everything under control. Nobody at any point. Like, when you're an adult, again, because I'm a purported adult, Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody anywhere knows what they're doing. We're just kind of faking it till we make it. It's all based on perceptions, right? So of course he watches these two auditions in the visual language of the two auditions as well. The two characters are very similar, Mayu and Kumiko, right? They're playing very similarly. Fuck, what am I gonna do? Like, shit. I'm internally conflicted about this. I got to pick one, and then I just got to be confident about it, right? And we see that kind of explained through the rest of the club. Certain people think Kumiko's just the better player and it would have caused more drama. Other people just think Mayu's the better player and that she was chosen. Some people think they're very, very similar. Some people think they're exactly the same. Like, opinion varies between everybody, but it's pretty well split down the middle, Therefore, if the club thinks it's split, the teacher, the figurehead of the club, or at least one of them, has to be split as well as the other figurehead as well, who's also split. And it's really funny to recontextualize kind of Reina's absolute confidence in the system, right? Because her absolute confidence in the system is predicated on Taki being like this genius guy, never makes a mistake, he'll always pick the right person, his say is final, he's the teacher, he's the one that's going to take us here. She has unwavering faith in that fact. But based on this conversation here with Asuka, you're just as broken up and fucked up as the rest of us, right? Reina bought into the lie. Like, you're projecting so much confidence that Reina just bought into it, when in reality, you're just as conflicted as this person right here, right now. You're just an adult and have a better kind of grasp of your emotions. Don't like kind of, what's the word? Don't stutter when you speak or, outwardly portray nervousness as bad as Kumiko, so you're fine. But you're just as fucked up as the rest of us. Interesting. I think that's the ultimate kind of point of what we have going on here, is that Taki's no messiah, but he needs to portray that strength in order to make a strong club. Again, you can really tell Kumiko here, she wants to ask the personal question about, that, and I'm thinking that you're picking up on her wanting to ask that personal question as well. Again, in isolation, this conversation here is kind of frustrating. We're kind of talking around in circles. I want to make music that makes everybody improve. So is that music tailored specifically to competitions? I don't think there's such a thing. I just want to win us gold. It's only when we peel back the layers by the end of the episode that it starts to make more sense for me personally. Yeah, and Taki looking at her directly, outwardly portraying confidence. I am doing my all to make you guys a success right now, right? I'm doing all to help you guys achieve the goal that you guys picked in the very beginning. You guys want to make nationals. I am doing my very, very best to help you guys make it there. Or win gold in nationals. That's the goal, of course. And here's a piece of candy. Hello, candy. I like the piece of candy here. The vice president gave it to me as cute as well, so it's actually from Shuichi. Very cool. But the piece of candy specifically here, there's a subtext to the entire conversation, right? Taki knows what Kumiko wants to ask right now, but knows that they're both stuck in their positions and can't ask the necessary questions. The candy in the scene is just an acknowledgement, a wordless acknowledgement that, hey, I understand what you're going through and I'm here for you, right? Just a little cheer me up, right? Now, the episode title is Expressing Arpeggios. Now, arpeggios are like... It's like a constant repeating sequence that goes up, something like that. Let me look it up. Well, I definitely wasn't correct. An arpeggio is like a chord. So a chord would have different notes in it, but those notes are played separately. So, like, I've had a little bit of experience with the guitar very, very early in my life. I would not be able to touch it now. But say you're holding a chord, you would hit like, one string, one string, one string instead of strumming. That's what I'm seeing an arpeggio as. So hitting each specific note. You could apply that to the episode, for sure. Yeah, in a number of different ways. Like notes representing people, notes representing certain emotions. Yeah. There's probably somebody with a bit more musical knowledge that can speak to this a little bit stronger than I can right now. Now, I think on purpose, this entire sequence here makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. I don't like the idea of having any kind of major discussion in a public forum like this. It just, my anxiety could not at all. Like, I'm fine talking to you right here, right now in my room with nobody around, right? I'm fine. But if I had to do this in front of people, there's no chance. I would die. So yeah, this just most uncomfortable scene in the show for me personally. I do like pausing on this frame. The looks on everybody's faces, they're very obviously all very tense and anxious and stuff. Like, things are fucked up. Yeah, adding to the hard to watch factor here is Kumiko. Her like kind of voice acting here and her character animation, I guess I would say, her demeanor overall, just somebody who's under a ton of stress, completely anxious, does not believe the words they're saying either, doesn't come from a place of honesty, comes from a place of obligation based on position. It's cringe. It's cringe in one word if I had to say it. And again, we're building contrast between this, right, and the conversation later on. Like, it's still, I do like that part of the kind of speech later on. It's still inherently Kumiko. Like, the way she's expressing the lines and what she's saying, but she says it with a lot more kind of, like she believes it, right? There's a lot more truth in the words, and you can definitely hear it. So much of Kumiko's framing in the direction later in the episode as well is like head-on, face-on shots. She is being completely genuine. Where here, she's turning her body away, she's looking away, she's fidgeting, she's moving around a lot. You can tell that she doesn't quite believe what she's saying. This here is almost the failure of the bring it to me, bring it all to me type kind of philosophy she was saying before, right? Like when there's a problem this deep and spread around the entire club, like you can't just take it on one at a time. Sometimes it's a major problem that everybody needs to be involved with and everybody needs to hear. In my opinion, the exec team here kind of lays an egg by saying that they were the ones that brought in this audition technique, because if they brought it in, it means they can take it away. It puts even more pressure on them to conform to the standards presented by the rest of the club body. And there's an explicit focus in this scene on Reina, Kumiko, and Shuichi, and the subtext again is Reina and Shuichi saying certain things that put more stress under Kumiko, but based on either of their perspectives, right? Again, it really is these are the two figureheads pulling the different sides of Kumiko and how she feels, right? So later in this scene, when these two get really, really aggro here, it's because they both deeply care about Kumiko and see each other's kind of explanations as a slight against Kumiko based on their personal view of her. That's why they're both emotional, because they're both invested in Kumiko. That's why they get to shouting, right? Yeah, this is the part that really makes me cringe. Do something about the bad vibes in the club. It's been really nasty ever since camp. It is honest, but I would never say something like this in public. Are you kidding me? Never, not ever, not once. It's lucky that Taki walked in. They started talking about the Soli as well, and then, Mayu's feeling more stress as well. Oh, and now this is one of my favorite scenes, just framing-wise, because you already have it all set up. You have a few students kind of lingering behind as we go off to sectionals, I'm guessing, right? We have Kumiko here, that's, going to hear an argument over this way, right? And then you have Mayu here, who's presented in the kind of foreground. I guess you could say professionally walking away, right? She's like, I'm not going to say anything. Kumiko asked me not to say anything. Blah, 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 blah. I hate drama. I don't want any drama. I'm trying to get away as quickly as possible. However, an argument erupts, right? Rainy, you're too hard on everybody. Shuichi, you're a people pleaser. Again, these kids over here are hearing the argument. And then, of course, Mayu in the foreground, of course, is hearing the argument as well. It's exacerbating several issues, right? The club feels tense and discontent after auditions, right? And they need a strong leader at the top to outwardly portray strength, and that is being currently shattered by hearing the exec team fucking yell at each other. And then the prior conflict with Mayu is being exacerbated as well. She now sees, again, more evidence to her point that if she was to try at this audition and get the part, that it will cause drama. And then this shot here, because we're getting our Kyoto animation on, walks right past Mayu, no acknowledgement at all. Shuichi apologizes, he didn't intend to start an argument. I love the line here from Kumiko, it'd be bad if you did intend to start an argument, right? Should we talk to Taki-sensei? I hate to admit it, but I don't think we can kind of solve this on our own anymore, right? Very, very interesting line. So again, Kumiko had the temptation at the very start of the episode to go to Taki and say her piece and try to get his help with all of this and blah, 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 blah. Now, the revelations through this portion of the episode are that, hey, Taki's got kind of no idea as well. So you going to him and forcing him to clean up this situation is just putting more and more pressure on him, where he's already feeling a lot of pressure based on the decisions that he's made, right? And eventually, when you are a teacher, you will not have the position of privilege of going to somebody away from yourself and saying, can you help with this? It's too hard. I can't solve it right now. Like a teacher can't go to another head teacher or the principal or something and say, can you fix this for me? That's not how the professional world works. Definitely not teaching. You can ask for advice, but not for somebody to clean something up for you. And again, I think Taki's got a support network where he's asking for advice as well. That's probably what that line from Matsumoto a couple of episodes ago was about. Last episode, where it's it felt like he was encouraging the kids as well as encouraging Taki, because he's probably the shoulder that Taki has to rely on, right? He knows that Taki's not feeling great about everything as well. and wants to give him a piece of encouragement, right? However, Taki is so good at portraying outward strength that nobody ever sees this until the curtain's pulled back by Asuka later in this episode, right? And the same thing as before. Nobody knew that the the student exec team, the leaders of the club, people didn't know that they were under that much stress and weren't amazing people until you were in that position yourself and are like, shit, I'm like fucked up here. How did they do this? It turns out they were fucked up too. Everyone's fucked up. I love this from Mayu. Mayu's like, Kumiko is really struggling here. I'm gonna walk in again and I'm gonna try to offer, my spot. She can play the solely. That'll make her feel better. But of course is pulled back by my good friend Kanade, who jumps in and saves the day and tells her that the auditions are starting, or sectionals are starting, if I can remember how to speak. Kumiko starts looking at the exact notebook, something that'll come up later in the episode as well, and Reina has written a comment there about something that's very, very matter of fact. It's like, the club room wasn't locked. We need to make sure we don't fail anything coming up to perfectuals, or whatever it's called. Again, it's too casual. It's not as jokey and friendly as normal, right? Now, Kumiko casts her eyes over to this poster on the train. I immediately picked up the sunflowers. The sunflowers relate to the postcard, and the postcard relates to Asuka, right? Interestingly enough, she looks at the postcard, and that influences her to go and talk to Reina and figure things out. So it's almost like thinking about Asuka, thinking about the postcard, made her think about trying to make things better with Reina. So Asuka reminded her of Reina in a way, right? Also, I kind of wish I could read Japanese because I want to read all these. I think that would be funny to read off of her phone as well. Now, this is a part I wanted to talk about as well. They had a big argument last episode, but I love how willing Reina is to still hear Kumiko out. Like, not a moment's notice. Yeah, let's meet up at the station, right? I'm going to ride my bike here. Let's talk it out, right? It doesn't turn into the moping and doping around that a normal, second act fall apart would. I think the characters are still very mature about things. You want to make things right, but are still staunch in your ideals, and you want to make things right as well. I love that we meet up here, even if it isn't ultimately successful. And Reina still stubborn as a board here, right? Like, Kumiko asks the question, she's like, we need to go talk to Taki, we need everybody to trust Taki. Well, then everyone just needs to trust Taki. Taki has no role in this, it's everybody else's problem. It's very Reina, right? And speaks to her personal persuasions and that kind of thing, right? Again, in the direction here, we have like pretty clear contrast in the shots there, still not on the same page in the visual direction. Even this shot here, not seeing eye to eye again, you can see one facing forward, one facing this way. And I hate to say it, Reina is ultimately right here. You can't go to Taki Sensei and ask him to make everything better, right? You can't. It shatters the illusion of everything, and specifically Taki's illusion that he's made for himself, right? This is the part where the president needs to stand up and put her big girl pants on and go up there and, inspire some level of confidence. I love the way that she does do it, though, by exposing her own vulnerability. And that's the difference between you and Reina, right? Ultimately, yes, Reina is correct. The way that she's going about it is not on. It's staunchly authoritarian, as I've said before, where, hey, just relating to the people on a level, using her kind of, again, there's the people pleaser, the empathy, the blah blah blah, the Shuichi on this side, then you got the Reina on this side, right? You split the difference by taking Reina's, I guess, ideals and points, which are correct, by putting them through the lens of Shuichi, the people pleaser, and relating to them on a level and presenting the information in that way. Again, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. Reina is right here, because again, she's like, what are you doing, Kumiko? That is literally your role as the president to make this kind of thing okay. And I do like the really realistic emotional outburst here from Kumiko. Then what do you suggest we do? Like, if I'm supposed to be the only one and supposed to come up with everything by myself, how the hell am I supposed to figure this shit out? Like, I'm just me. You're amazing. Everybody else is amazing. I'm just me. If I can't get advice of anybody, if I can't bounce ideas of anybody else in my club, then where else should I go? Right? In the episode as well, we see a number of times Kumiko saying, what she's thinking in her head before, thinking about what she's saying, right? She just kind of lets her mouth run. Right, here's another example, right? If I took Raina's example, I would just go up on stage and tell everybody that they're wrong, you know? And she pulls herself back. But that's the exact thing you're doing to Reina right now. You're standing up in front of her and telling her that she's wrong. Ultimately, that's not the answer either. And again, a lot of shot, reverse shot, isolation, characters not seeing eye to eye, not being on the same eye level. Lots of great little character framing, direction details. And this is a great metaphor in the dialogue as well. Like, I was trying to draw her back in, like I'm fishing, right? And the line just snapped and she ran away again because I was too tense with her, right? And again, I can't take that tact forward if I am going to present this information to the rest of the club. I can't be too forceful, right? Because I'll snap the connection with the club the same way I've snapped this connection with Reina right here, right now. It's very clear that we're having a conversation by the riverbank, and then we see Asuka by the end of the episode. Like, that's a pretty clear connection to me personally as well. I think this is the first time we've seen the Euphonium splash screen as well, so shoutouts to that. I do like how we follow her journey here, and then we follow it back when she's running. Like, there'll be a shot of her running on this bridge, again very similar to season 1, where she's trying to find where Asuka's staying. I feel like I recognized the voice immediately. I knew it was Kaori, of course, and apparently Kaori is rooming with Asuka, which is cute. I like that. She's also doing a bit of cleaning, so she's already a better roommate than I am, which is nice. Again, we're going to do the Kyoto animation thing and praise the backgrounds because they're really good. Like, are you hanging your bananas up or something? Like, what's going on here? I also like the first person shot, just kind of scanning the room as Kaori feels very comfortable with her own space. She's just like making her something to eat and that kind of thing, right? Being a good host. Again, scanning the room. All these flowers too. Yo, they're kind of like interior designers out here. They're kind of crazy. I don't know what these books are. What are these books? Yeah. But again, like the first person shot's fantastic there. Just kind of looking around the room, scanning stuff. I also don't understand this concept. This must be a cultural thing. I've never seen a shared room before. Have you... What? What? You don't understand the concept of roommates? Again, I would imagine property in Kyoto is like property everywhere. Fucking expensive. So, like... it's cheaper. You get to half the rent. It's pretty cool. You should investigate that, Kumiko. Now, this is an element I really like as well. Kaori notices that Kumiko is carrying the little postcard, right? And then immediately asks if she got in a fight with Kosaka-san, right? Got in a fight with Reina. Because Asuka correctly predicted that if Kumiko ever came here with that postcard in hand, it would be because she had a fight with Reina. That's just perfect Asuka stuff. Always knowing the next move, always, planning ahead, always being the smartest person in the room. Yeah, just fits her character perfectly. Unfortunately, it turns out that Asuka was correct. She is she is unfortunately just as brilliant as always. Now, we didn't need to flex this hard, but Asuka comes in the door, she yells that she's home, and we get the reflection of Kumiko in the tea, which I really like as a technique as well. This almost worried look of like, oh shit, she's here, now I have to be prepared to say my piece. Now, immediately, it must be the shoes, because she would see the shoes at the door and then says, oh, it's Omai-chan, she must be here. And then there's Asuka, right? Now, I'm imagining she needs to see, so she's wearing contacts when she goes out and does whatever she's doing at the moment. Probably tertiary education of some kind. I don't know, there's probably, you could do a little bit of sleuthing around and figure some stuff out of what she's doing right now, but not me. I can't read the books that were over there on the seat, but I digress. She's looking cool. Now, this shot here, show me the shot with the hair. This is the biggest flex I've ever seen in my life. Like, holy fuck, Kyoto Animation are good at this kind of thing, right? I do like the two modes of Asuka here as well, right? So I can yap about Asuka for ages, by the way. She comes in and she's super excited to see one of her old friends again. Like, oh, do you like my hair? Do you like this? Do you like that? But then, like, in this part of the scene, she flicks the glasses on and becomes the same old Asuka as normal, right? On one level, hey, I'm happy to see you. I'm going to, like hug you and, I'm seeing my friend again. That's awesome. But then, hey, I got to remember my role as it pertains to this friend. I put on the glasses, and I'm going to put on this kind of mask again. Again, so much of Asuka and her arc in season 2 was about that mask. In a very Asuka way, she is upset that the problem that Kumiko is coming to her with isn't a lover's quarrel. It instead involves a third party, a transfer student. I think you expected a more straightforward love story with Reina, maybe something that the audience would be expecting as well. Oh my god, it's meta. And kind of describes a very cliche anime plot. I'm going abroad for college. Please don't leave me. No, we have to be together, that kind of thing. No, it's a little bit more related to the club that we're in and the performances and stuff. It's, not anything as cheesy as that. Now, Asuka here is very on purpose dismissive about the problem to prove a point, right? She's like, this problem's got an easy solution, right? Why don't you just take Mayu's spot and let her step down? That would be perfect, right? You could play and everything would be awesome. And Kaori picks up that, yeah, you're being facetious right now. That's not really a tangible option for her. I'm not being mean, I'm being objective and logical, aren't I? Well, yeah, if the problem is technically I don't have the Soli position and she's going to give it to you, then yeah, the solution is to let her give it to you. It's not an objective and logical problem, it's an emotional one. And it's about keeping up appearances in front of people and perpetuating, I guess, the logic and tenets of the club, and that it's a meritocracy and that kind of thing. Because if I do that, then everything falls apart, and I can't allow that to happen. Now, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the Oreo is about. Like, what's she doing right here, right? Obviously, an Oreo has a hard outside and a gooey kind of center in the middle. Nice bit of cream, I guess you would call it. Cookies and cream is generally what you're doing there. But anyway, Oreos aside, what is it trying to say? If we're looking at this right now, we would imply that the internal of the Oreo, the sweet center, is Kumiko, and either side you've got forces that are pushing her in. That is something that I've been talking about, the two different sides of Kumiko pushing her together, like an Oreo. And now we have Asuka like turning it and like seeing inside and prying a little bit deeper. So the Oreo is Kumiko. Asuka wants Kumiko to show her genuineness when she like has these kind of tantrums at the last minute and that kind of thing. Reveal the gooey center of herself to everybody else. Everybody knows that's the best part of the Oreo as well and will heed the best results when presented, right? Again, she's keeping the shell around herself. She needs to expose the inner side, right, to everybody, spinning that Oreo around, showing herself, warts and all, to the entire cohort to get a result here. I think that's what the Oreo is trying to say. It could also be taken a number of other ways. I think it's just kind of clever. I don't know. Also, add to the fact that somebody told me on Discord as well that Asuka takes the Oreo with her to the shower. So I don't want to be too like fan theory-y, right? But this is, if Oreo is Kumiko, you treasure Kumiko and want to take some part of her, the genuineness of Kumiko, as represented by the middle portion of the Oreo, you want to keep a portion of that, you want to take that with you, you want to cherish that, right? And in the typical Asuka way, she's trying to keep up appearances, but secretly is really happy that she saw her friend again and was able to help and really treasured what Kumiko did for her in the past. That's what I think all this is trying to say. Again, it's an attempt. There's also another example there of Kumiko saying something before she thinks about it, as she brings up that first year audition between Reina and Kaori. So yeah, she's using that audition between Reina and Kaori from the first year as the justification for what she can't do now. If we made that decision based on a meritocracy, based on Taki's decision, blah, 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 before, right, then I can't rescind on it now, especially after my outward public display. I was the one that clapped for Reina, like one of the only ones that even actually clapped. Everyone else was just kind of too scared. Like, I can't rescind on that now. But now we have Asuka being absolutely dismissive about the entire thing. Like, yeah, we get it. You haven't changed at all, Mai-chan. You talk so high and mighty, but in reality, you're just being selfish. You want the best person in the audition to play. If you don't get chosen, you want Taki to explain why. You want closure, right? But you see, those aren't necessarily decisions that they're making based on clear answers. Now, as an adult, I can see through everything a little bit, at least a little bit more than you can right now. Taki doesn't know what he's doing, the same way that, again, you don't know what you're doing when you thought that we knew what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. Like, it's all a fucking lie. In that same way Taki is stuck, in that same way Mayu is stuck right now, everybody's stuck based on the outward appearance that they want to project to everybody else. And now the Oreo is completely open and it's being demonstrated. Hey, I got to the center of the problem and now I'm showing you it, right? For there to be so much beef in the club, there can't be that much of a difference in skill, so all he can do is choose one or the other and act confident in that decision. Taki's not stupid. He knows that the club's upset, but he also knows he's screwed if he shows any amount of hesitation. He needs to kind of retain appearances here. Now, the thing that Kumiko has already done, and the exec team by proxy, is already shown their hand a little bit. They can't outwardly portray that same level of sheer confidence, the Reina strat, because they've already shown the cracks. That was the start of this episode, right? Thus, you need to do your own thing and just kind of spill your guts, say what you mean. And again, Asuka's so great here. And Kaori's in on it too, because she's like, I know Asuka, right? Oh, this scene's great. Because Asuka is putting up that barrier again. She's being so untouchable in all of it. And it's playing that same soundtrack again. It seems like it's this big mystery, but in reality, you're giving her good advice kind of through the lens of somebody that doesn't give a fuck. It's very, very interesting. Because that was, again, the mask that you had to put up around Kumiko because she was too genuine back in the day. So again, the advice here is that Kumiko, you always speak your mind, like you did back to me that day, right? And just so you know, I still don't think you were right about a single thing you said. Come on, Asuka, come on. But I had no choice but to take it because it was a tantrum. Oh my god, so bitter, I love it. You never do anything until the last moment anyway, and then she goes off to take a shower. Obviously very proud of herself and her little speech here. And then Kaori, being the nice girl that she is, I'm jealous, you got through to her. Which is great, again. You see through the Asuka kind of disguise that she puts up. A little blush there's great too. Oh, I did? I didn't even know I did. And then in that same way, Kumiko goes to leave and then she kind of repeats what was just said. She's like, Asuka got through to me just now too. Just know. We're doing our own really kind of obtuse way of interacting with each other, but just know that she got to me. And yeah, a way more outwardly confident Kumiko. Break a leg, or my son. I hope to see you guys again during the finale. Oh, this is great too. So she goes and she bows at the house, right? And that's kind of like how we bow at the end of the episode as well. It's a show of respect for a good job done, I guess. And then, yeah, it was pretty predictable to see where we're going from here. She starts to walk into a canter, into a jog, into a sprint. And yeah, we do a nice little musical montage here. As Kumiko is running, we get the dialogue of her, which she writes in the exec notebook, giving them a heads up of what she plans to do when she has this little speech in front of everybody, right? A lot has happened since the camp. I haven't seen you two fight before, and I realized I should have confronted you properly. To be honest, I'm not entirely satisfied with Taki's choices. Being honest. I can relate to the discontent in the club. That's why I couldn't say anything, because I secretly agreed with everything that they were saying, right? That's why I couldn't, go forth and kind of quiet down the club, because deep down inside, I agreed with them, right? But I want all of us to perform well together, and I want us to be glad that we performed well together as well. I'm confident Taki-sensei and all the other club members feel the same about that, wanting to be glad that we performed well. And then, of course, this is an amazing shot of her running. Like, I don't need to say it. It's the outward portrayal of all the tension and stress that has been getting to her up to this point, right? It is the visual reflection of the I want to improve scene from very early in the show as well. Instead of now, the improvement is more around being a better leader as opposed to being a better player. Again, the two sides that we've been talking about. And if we're contrasting body language here, we now see Reina is giving Kumiko the book, looking her in the eye, very neutral, very respectful, that kind of stuff. And yeah, she declares that she's going to talk to everybody about it, about the way that she's feeling and the performance and everything, right? I'm going to put my thoughts into words. Again, visual language, of course, contrasting with the I want to improve stuff. Again, instead of physically improving playing and getting a better play and relating to Reina a lot more, it's, hey, I'm going to actually speak my mind, which has been one of Kumiko's major character flaws this entire time, right? That she's sometimes obtuse with what she thinks, and she always sees good results when she actually does speak her mind. And that's kind of the contradiction in Kumiko's character. She's so good at blurting out what she doesn't want to say when it's not appropriate to say it, but in that same way, she keeps certain things that she needs to say bottled up sometimes. And again, we play off that in the ending scene, of course, right? Where she starts it by doing one of her character traits again, saying the stuff that she shouldn't say, but maybe that stuff that she shouldn't say is also the stuff that she should say. You know, you get what I'm saying? It's contradictive, it's cool. And just because we're nerding out, I love the color contrast here between the afternoon of the river conversation with Raina and the deep blue of the night river now. It just indicates change in a nice, neat way. Of course, the visual metaphor of the river, time ever marching forward, flowing on. There may be some rocks in the way, but ultimately everything comes out in the wash and becomes okay again. Just, again, overall shoutouts to the voice acting across the board this season. If they should have like an actual voice actor award and not like that Crunchyroll BS, because like Tomoyo Kurosawa, like absolutely, like holy shit, she's good. And again, we get the responses in the book, of course, as well. They both have her back, right? We'll jump in if it looks like you're in trouble, but we leave this to you. And a nice little scene there of Kumiko smiling at the book and embracing it. Feeling loved. It's always good. I like the way she wakes up here. She's immediately ready for the alarm. The way she puts on her uniform here, it looks like a fucking superhero uniform. And yeah, the most important part here is, hey, it's like competition day. It's time to fucking go. So Asuka wasn't joking when she said, hey, you leave this to the last moment sometimes. And just because we're nerding out, I really like this small scene with Kumiko. You can tell that she's kind of psyching herself up for what she plans to do as well, but is still stuck doing kind of president work. We got to find the instruments and whatever that was lost. Ririka was on screen for a frame, so this episode is automatically a 10 out of 10 as well. We pan around the club room. It's clear that everyone's still very tense, up to and including our good friend Mayu here, whose motivation is to do well on the soli. After all, you won't have a chance to play again if I don't make it past this. Which is a really weird way to look at it, but sure. Again, there's 3 episodes left. You would have to imagine that one of them has to do with Mayu and deep diving into whatever the hell you two have going on, culminating in that final audition. They do one last little mini practice here, and it sounds pretty good, but it doesn't work to calm all the nerves that are existing in this room right here, right now. The contrast here built again between Taki's little speech and Kumiko's, right? Taki's speech, because he hasn't broken the image yet, he's still putting on this image of being a, outward professional, having it all together. This is all part of the plan, blah, 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 which is very interesting as last week, a lot of my interpretations were buying into this plan as well. We're buying into Taki being supremely in control and knowing everything and that kind of thing, right? Where again, this episode serves to prove that kind of idea completely incorrect. Right? If that's not what that conversation with Asuka is about, then what is? So again, we contrast that with Kumiko, who has broken that seal. She can no longer outwardly portray the same things that she was portraying before. The image is broken in a way, right? She can't be like Reina. She can't stand up the top and tell everybody that they're wrong, right? And that you have to do this. Because, again, they've seen behind the curtain. They've seen behind the veneer there. So she has to come at them honestly and speak her mind. And I love how these 2 speeches are placed back to back with each other. Again, Kumiko is still very nervous here, puts her hand up in a very straight way, announces that she would like to say something. There's a little knowing acknowledgement by Taki as well. Like, hey, I wanted you to do this as well. Okay, you're sensing the same thing I'm sensing. That's nice. And again, as somebody who has had their struggles with public speaking in the past, this is all too relatable. Like telling yourself to stay calm and speak your mind and everything's going to be okay. And it's amazingly vulnerable here. Kumiko starts to, again, out loud say that she wants to just say it. Slowly, be calm, all these other things, right? And Hazuki, being one of the people that have been here the entire time, knows Kumiko the best. Kumiko, you're doing the thing again, the thing that everybody in the club already knows that you sometimes do, just blurt things out. We see embarrassed Kumiko, and yeah, we've broken the tension a little bit now, and I can kind of just say what I think. And now she's steeled herself after all that nonsense, and these 2 can relax a little bit. Again, they said that they were going to jump in if it looked like she was stuffing it up, and now it's like, okay, no, she's not stuffing it up up anymore. Okay, we're fine. And yeah, no filter here. I also love how we're doing this zoom out. This zoom out has been, I guess, had a negative connotation in the past. Like, I'm thinking about the Reyna zoom out in season 1. That zoom out was like, hey, everyone's looking at me, everyone's against me, I'm breaking the mold, right? Where this time everybody's now looking at her and we're seeing that through the zoom back because she's doing such a great job at inspiring people, right? At Kitauji, the first years and the third years compete for positions, right? They compete in the same ring. For that, I love it. I want us to win gold at nationals. I've wanted that for 2 years, but we never made it. The second years, the third years, Taki, they must all be thinking the same thing. Why, damn it? The why in that sentence being, hey, why haven't we won yet? What are we doing wrong? We want to change something, right? So, hey, that's why us, the executive team, chose to do the auditions this way, bringing again the conflict from very early in the episode to the now, right? Which is, hey, if you guys brought it in, why can't you guys take it away? Well, we wanted to change something. We had one in the past that frustrated the second years, the third years, and Taki. So, hey, let's change something. I don't think we were wrong about the audition strategy. I also think it's a decision befitting of Kitauji. Now run with me on this one, right? Didn't we suggest that Seira was the school that used to do auditions this way? Maybe that's why you're so fucking stressed out all the time. Maybe you've seen this thing literally play out this way before because of this introduction. Just food for thought. We're obviously going to get into it eventually, right? So again, Kumiko stands at the very front of the group. She apologizes for not kind of communicating this audition strategy well enough and their intentions. So I'm apologizing, bringing back the bowing again on the, I guess, basis that not everybody was consulted and brought in and approved of this particular operation, I guess. Shuichi, without a word, stands up and apologizes as well. Reina follows suit, which is nice. I really think that's an important moment for Reina. Like, she's normally so forthright about what she's doing is the correct way. Showing some admission of fault here, at least not consulting everybody, goes a long way with everybody else, because they know what she's like. I'm sure not all of you can accept such a belated apology, and then we flash to various scenes, which I think is very effective. This Asuka scene, very cool. This scene with Kanade during Shikai no finale. But again, like, those are the times when she did this exact same thing. It's also tears, because she's thinking about these experiences as well, which is a great moment, right? Like, I'm sorry for not being open and honest with everybody about what's going on, right? But again, I'm channeling the same thing I was feeling in those situations in the past into what I'm feeling now, and hopefully my genuineness will get across. I still want to win gold with Kitauji. And then the zooms here and the kind of transitions there are just like... Again, I said almost in a derogatory way. It felt like an AMV of itself, but also not derogatory. I think that's also like a cool thing. Interesting. Because that's also something I would use to describe things I really like. I think the film Your Name is a AMV of itself sometimes, right? If it works, it works. And I think it really works here. Again, it's a very genuine filmic technique. Like this kind of zoom and the fade, the zoom and the fade, right? Especially, again, we get a little bit of like a lens flare-ish kind of bend going on here a little bit as well. I'll go back and look at the dialogue, of course. Yeah, this kind of stuff, right? As it's almost like the tears in the eyes are kind of welling up as well as we do those kind of transitions. That's a great edit as well. It's very genuine. It's a genuine technique to meet with a genuine scene, I would say. Maybe that's selfish. I want those of us here to put on the best performance ever so we can blow away all the discontent and hesitation and make it to nationals. Again, genuine. This is what I want to happen, right? After a year of watching us, there's no way we haven't gotten good after we practiced so much. Cue all the montage of all the practicing we've done. Up to and including this character, you potentially had a name, but you kind of exemplified this perfectly. You're the one that was initially off-put by the Reina stuff, but came back together and we realized that practice makes perfect. And, if you really try at something, you can succeed and be better. That's inspiring. getting us to think about this at this point is a smart move direction-wise. There's no way we wouldn't get through to people how much we put into it with our performance, right? We're literally, it's like the culmination. We're putting it all on the line here. Kituji can do this. We can do this. Look at everyone getting all inspired. I love the eyes. Oh my god, Sally, let's go. So, what I'm trying to say, oh, proud fucking Kanade too. Look at her. She's loving life. Yeah, you always just looking dumb. That's funny. So I guess what I'm trying to say, she kind of like ends the the speech kind of awkwardly as well, really matching how genuine it is. She didn't plan this out, right? It feels realistic. It's cool. And then a couple of her friends cheer her on. We want to make nationals. I want to make nationals. Everyone's cheering along. I believe you're the same character from the very start who made that very public display of discontent with the club. So that's nice that you've come around. And we come to the agreement that everybody wants to win gold at nationals. And we're all on the same page, and, you know, we should meet her genuineness with a genuine performance. This is interesting, though. Watching for you. I'm watching for it. You know, that Mayu stuff still isn't done, is my point. Oh, I figured it out. That's why fucking Mayu's so pissed off. If you can be genuine right now, why the fuck haven't you been genuine with me before? Why the fuck haven't you been there for me? Wait, all those times that I approached you. Is it me? Is it something wrong with me? Yo, that's so funny. Yeah, of course she'd feel pissed off. And then, yeah, we do Kituji fight though. Also, again, it's important that Reina tells her to do it. Reina's fully on board with the Kumiko that was presented here and now. And then, interestingly enough, we're sitting down, we're all very confident. The reflection of Kumiko, a confident and kind of, you know, she's puffing her chest out a little bit. That kind of Kumiko is reflected back in the Euphonium. It's gold. We see the stage lights. And then we don't get to see the performance. We know it goes well by the very end, right? Because, like, hey, it looks like we're pretty fucking happy about things. Ririka fucking owned, as usual. And yeah, she looks proud of what she did. Yeah, a really inspiring moment. The next piece begins. And I successfully talked about this episode for too long. But I think it's really good. It somehow threaded the gap of doing something I would call unexpected, but also quite profound. I found a lot here that I can personally agree with, and I guess, yeah, we're taking the right things from the right people basically all the time. Asuka has a knack of saying the perfect thing. She definitely did that here. This is the best episode thus far? Up there. It's up there for sure. The one that got me the most emotionally, we'll put it that way. I really, really like the ending there. But yeah, next week we'll do another 2, of course. Clearly Mayu left, clearly Nationals left, clearly Kumiko's future left, a few little plot threads to be tied up. I like that we're seemingly feeling a little bit better about other stuff now. The Kumiko Reina stuff. We've come out on the other side of that, supposedly. Tomio Kurosawa is 1 year older than me. That's crazy. Anyway, I was looking at Google, which I have up on the... Anyway, I'm going to be back next week and I'm going to watch 2 episodes. Thank you for being here with me today. Subscribe, like the video, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll catch you next week. See you later. Goodbye.